Good afternoon from Stafford, Kansas. Thanks for joining us today. We aren't going to do a traditional vlog today. We're going to do a little, get to know us better vlog. Thought that I would share with you a tour of my hometown of Stafford. This is where I was born. I lived here till I was about 6. And my dad and his family and a lot of family on my mom's side still live in this county and this area. And so I came back here all through my childhood and continue to do so as an adult. So I thought I'd share this, and there's no doubt stories that will come up as we have a look-see at things. Little FYI here, this video will be recorded entirely from inside of the truck today. But if you hear wind noise, please note that it is the air conditioner running. It is 92 degrees outside and about 1,000% humidity. So we're hot, we're sweaty, we're running the AC, and we're staying inside. I think Benny showed this place to you yesterday, but we're coming up here to my dad's round top. This is not the one he had when I was a kid. When I was a little girl, he had one out much closer to our house. But it's kind of logistics. We're dropping off some seed that they dropped off to the back of the truck that we're in out at the house, and he needed it up here. So we said we'd come drop it off on our tour. Say hi to our YouTube.
Hi.
We really wanted to go by and check on that little fawn that Ben and Dad found yesterday and see if he's okay and if he's still there and if he moved.
Hey guys, just out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of it, but there's a baby fawn right here in this brush.
We're gonna head into town now so you can see what the downtown area looks like. We are basically, Stafford is right off of Highway 50. For us, with what you're looking at right now, left is west and right is east. And if you want to come off of the 50 and go into town, you turn north. So it's the most likely way that you would happen to pass through Stafford is if you're coming along Highway 50. So Paul's grocery store is, it's still owned by cousins, but it was owned by my cousin Paul until he passed away, and now his children own it. But he is related to us through my mom's side of the family. Elroy's Pizza is the only pizza joint in town and has been here for as long as I've been alive and long before me. And the reason that I particularly remember Elroy's is because Elroy was my bus driver when I was in kindergarten. And he has passed away now, and his kids run it. So this Simply Good Overstocks is in a building that has been a lot of different things over the years. When I was a little girl, it was Jack and Jill's grocery store. That's what I remember it for being. More recently, in my adult years, it was also the Stafford Mercantile. And the cool part about it, they installed a soda fountain in the back. So you can go in and get old-fashioned sodas and cherry limeades and milkshakes and malts and stuff like that. All right, well, that pretty much puts us at the end of one part of town. We'll go back the other way and see what else we can find. Coming up here on our right is the Methodist Church, and this is the church that my grandparents went to and my mom and dad went to, and the church where I was baptized. One thing that you'll notice about Stafford is that it still has the old-fashioned red brick streets. Evidently, they were really popular in the early 1900s, and Stafford has maintained those. Next on our lovely little tour of town is the Henderson House. Now, this is still in my family. My Uncle Claire owns it right now, and it's ran as a bed and breakfast. But many, many years ago, my grandma Rebecca Well, actually, her name was Mary Rebecca, but I only call her Rebecca because I was named after her. Everybody else called her Mary R. But she lived there as a teenager and young woman when she first came to Stafford. Well, we've come across Main Street again, and now we're on the east side of town. It's all of like 3 blocks the other direction. But we're gonna drive by the schools and show you where I went to kindergarten and first grade. The funny story that I have about kindergarten is that my Aunt Eileen was our teacher. And I was a very literal child. Like, when I was a little girl, really little, and I just started talking, I called everybody by their first names. I called Mom Lisa and Dad Steve and my grandparents Fred and Lucille and Mary and John. And finally, my grandpa Fred asked me, "Why don't you call us Grandma and Grandpa or Mommy and Daddy?" And I said, "Well, nobody else does." And so everybody started calling each other their appropriate title, and so did I. But anyway, Aunt Eileen was my kindergarten teacher, and at the ripe old age of 5, I had a really hard time understanding that she should be Mrs. Hildebrand instead of Aunt Eileen. So the entire kindergarten class started calling her Aunt Eileen until I learned otherwise. All right, so we're down at the edge of the schools, and you'll see here to your left a new track surface and our football field. We are the Stafford Trojans here, and colors are black and red and white. You could definitely see some Friday Night Lights action going on there, right? It's a pretty big deal. Everybody in town comes out for Friday night football games. Okay, and here on your right is the high school, and this has actually been refurbished quite a bit since I was a little girl. They've put a new front on it and everything. And now the elementary school is part of the high school. When I was a little girl, this was the junior high and high school. And then this building that you're seeing up here on your right now was the grade school, and there's a little kindergarten building on the side of it. All right, we've come back to the only stoplight in town. We're gonna turn left back onto Main Street. It's not even a real stoplight, it's just one of those ones that flashes red. On your left-hand side here, you're gonna see the old movie theater playing Snatched this weekend. Now, having movies play at this theater is something very new. When I was a kid, it was all shut down and has been for most of my life. I'm not gonna put a number on it, but in the last 5 to 7 years, they've reopened it. So we may have to hit up a movie while we're here. When I was a kid, the bowling alley was open. It is closed now. So things come and go in this town. That's what you learn about small towns, is somebody opens things for a while and they close back up. So that's just part of the ebb and flow. Here on your left-hand side, this red brick with white beige siding, this is where my grandma Rebecca, or Mary R, as everybody else calls her, lived after, well, when she, in her older years. The homestead that my grandfather and grandma lived on was actually built by my great-grandpa, and my grandpa Fred was born there. And when he took over the farm, my great-grandma moved to town. All right, well, the staple of any small farming community in the Midwest is the co-op and grain elevators, and you can see those here to our right. When I was a little girl, only the white ones were here, but in recent years, they've started adding all of these, I don't know, what is that stuff? Corrugated?
Bins.
Yeah, they've started adding all of these silver bins since I've been an adult. They're actually building one right now. You can see the short one. They put a roof on it so it stays dry, and then they just keep adding layers to it until it's tall like all the others. As a kid, we used to drive by the co-op every day so my dad could see what the prices were. They'd be posted in the window for wheat and corn and Milo and all of that. Now you just check them on your computer, but back in the day, that's how we did it. On the left here is another feature that Ben says is not new, but it's new to me because it wasn't here when I was a kid. It's been here as long as we've been married. There's a campground here in town, and it's got some hookups and nice little grassy areas. It's not advertised online. Don't know that much about it. We'll go check it out and do its own separate video. But kind of nice that they have some place here for RVs to park and camp for a bit. We're back out on Highway 50 now, and on the right hand side you'll see the Am Pride. It's a gas station and it's also a convenience store, and on some level a little bit of a hub for the community. When I was a little girl, this place was across the street and it was known as the Handy Serve in an old building, but this was built, boy, I don't know, when I was a teenager, I guess, and has, you know, gas, pizza, ag fuel, everything you could possibly need in a small town.
Gas is $2.05 a gallon.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap here. Well, you can see right there something called the Liquor Patch, but when I was a little girl it was called the Strawberry Patch, and my Aunt Sherry owned it, and they had burgers and fries and, you know, like standard American fare and ice cream, and I learned how to run a cash register there. All right, the last thing here on the left is Joanne's Cafe, and this is kind of the new place everybody goes and has lunch. When I was little, there was also Curtis Cafe down on Main Street, and it was my favorite place to eat because they had hot roast beef sandwiches with mashed potatoes and gravy, but they don't have that anymore. They've closed. I'm just gonna forewarn you guys, if you hadn't figured out, it is blowing like sin here, so there will be no drone footage today. But I think that concludes our tour of Stafford, the city. But we're gonna go out and visit some friends now tonight, and hopefully it's gonna cool off because it is really hot here. Thanks for joining us. Hope you had a fun time touring our little town here, and be sure to subscribe so you can see what we're up to tomorrow. Thanks for watching and have a great day.